the Minirig version 2 Bluetooth stroke auxiliary speaker. Now, this is a video to compare Bluetooth versus auxiliary, and it is interesting on this speaker because this speaker's been around since 2011. That's 7 years in which it's evolved from an auxiliary only speaker to a Bluetooth speaker. Now, for most of the Bluetooth speakers on the market at the price level around £130 that you're going to pay for the Minirig 2, they are first and foremost Bluetooth speakers but with an auxiliary input, and they sound pretty crap when played mostly via auxiliary. There are benefits obviously to playing over auxiliary, not least you're going to get more battery life and you're not getting as much compression as you get over Bluetooth mode. I know Bluetooth has also evolved, it's a lot better, but still it is a compressed format. They do advertise that it goes louder in auxiliary mode. So I mean, is there a real benefit to playing an auxiliary? I mean, when you buy it, it does come with an auxiliary lead. So I've done some tests using the lead that they supply, comparing it on Bluetooth mode, on auxiliary mode, in both high and low gain mode. Just to say again, Minirig is all about this high gain, low gain mode. And it's a shame it's so hard to tell what gain you're in because your only hope is you press your, well, I pressed it very quickly, just to say, it does keep catching me out. That's just going to tell me the power level. It came on solid green. I know that's basically 100% power level. To turn it on, you've got to hold it down and wait for the tone. And you can only tell what mode it's in by the brightness of that LED. Now, I can see it's quite bright. You know, I'm that close to it. It must be in high gain mode. But the only way to be sure, I press that again, and it goes a little bit darker. Now, Minirig have said that they are going to change the high level brightness to make it even brighter so it's easier to see. But it still makes no sense to me either have a separate LED or have a separate color for high gain, low gain mode. When you go outdoors, it's an absolute nightmare. And if you've got more than one of these things, it's an even bigger nightmare. So just to say, those are the two modes you've got to watch. The difference between high gain and low gain is the preamp in high gain mode, you're going to get a bit more noise. It's not going to be as clean as the low gain mode, but it's going to go louder. So there's a trade-off. But rather than just have one mode, as you have in all these other Bluetooth speakers, you get the option with Minirig to have a high quality, low gain mode. It won't go as loud, but it'll be a lot cleaner. So I'm going to compare auxiliary, Bluetooth, high gain, low gain. My first test is at what I consider normal indoor listening, and I've tried to match the sound pressure levels. Obviously it's quieter in high gain mode, so that means I'm playing about 50% when I'm playing it in high gain mode, about just over 80% volume when I'm playing it in low gain mode. But then the sound pressure levels are kind of, for all intents and purposes, matched, which is the point, because that's how you're going to be listening at these, you know, when you're going to match the levels. So this is my first comparison.
walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
So Bluetooth high gain versus auxiliary high gain. The bass about the same. The real difference is the mids, around 250 Hz to about 3000 Hz. Almost the full range of the mids. It's much more present on the auxiliary. It's a much fuller sound on the auxiliary. There is a slight high-end boost on Bluetooth, around 8000, which isn't there, by the way, on the original track. And you don't get such a boost on the auxiliary. So Bluetooth will have a little more in the brilliance range, so it may sound a little bit more airy, but overall auxiliary is clearly a higher quality mode. It's a fuller sound, it's more realistic sound. Bluetooth low gain versus auxiliary low gain. Bluetooth is a little bit more bass heavy because the rest of the spectrum is falling away a little bit compared to auxiliary low gain. So it's going to give the impression that Bluetooth is a little bit more bass heavy, but with a thinner sound. It's a fuller sound auxiliary low gain. It's just if you're just worried about the bass, then you're probably going to think Bluetooth low gain is a winner against the auxiliary. But auxiliary low gain, again, clearly auxiliary beats Bluetooth. And in terms of accuracy, the original track is on that bottom row, and you can see the one that most closely resembles the original track is clearly the auxiliary low gain. So definitely low gain is a higher quality mode than high gain, and auxiliary is a higher quality mode than Bluetooth. Don't forget, the Minirig is evolved from an auxiliary only speaker into a Bluetooth, unlike almost all the other Bluetooth speakers out there, which are basically evolved to be a Bluetooth speaker. So the Minirig is different in that regards. In terms of straight high gain versus low gain, Bluetooth high gain, Bluetooth low gain gives you more bass, about 3 decibels, descending, not just at the peak, descending into the lower bass below the peak. It's a fuller bass, it's more rounded. I have recorded this, as I said, at approximately the same sound pressure level. So when it comes to low gain, you are pushing near maximum volumes to match the high gain sound pressure. So obviously high gain is all about having more volume. But if the low gain mode is giving you the volume that you're happy with, it's clearly the preferred mode. So about 3 decibels louder and fuller in the lower bass, mid bass. So auxiliary high gain versus auxiliary low gain, not quite the same story. It's much more subtle, the difference when you're in auxiliary mode, but you are getting, if you look around the bass peak is around the same, minus 19 decibels. Then if you're looking around the 35 to 65 Hertz mark. It's subtly stronger when it comes to the low gain. So it's not huge, we have to listen for it. It's subtle, but still low gain is the preferred mode over high gain, but it's not as dramatic as low gain, high gain in Bluetooth mode. So pretty much confirms auxiliary mode is a higher quality mode than Bluetooth, has evolved from an auxiliary mode. And so that's one of the notable things that sets the Minirigs apart from your other off-the-shelf Bluetooth speakers. It's a serious hardwired speaker. You've got the option of Bluetooth and auxiliary, but if you want the purest sound, you want the cleanest signal, auxiliary, low gain, clearly the way to go. But the question is, obviously, there's a big trade-off. You're losing volume. So the question is, how much volume are you losing? And is it the same Bluetooth versus auxiliary? So these are my tests at maximum volume. So Minirig in high gain mode is louder than the Bluetooth high gain mode, measuring the peaks with the sound pressure level meter at 1 meter. High gain auxiliary is louder than the Bluetooth high gain by 0.7 decibels and by 1 decibel if I'm just analysing the track itself. So high gain auxiliary, high gain Bluetooth. Again, you can see the main difference is around 8,000 Hertz on Bluetooth you do get a larger peak, which isn't in the track. Auxiliary is stronger across the entire mid-range. Now I did compare it to the Charge 4 just for point of reference, and I was surprised that the Charge 4 does not go as loud as the Minirig, neither in auxiliary or in Bluetooth. So in auxiliary, on sound pressure level meter, 5 decibels, the Charge 4 was quieter. If I'm just analysing the tracks, still 5.7 decibels. So it's actually huge. I was actually did it twice because I was just really pretty gobsmacked at that result. In Bluetooth mode, obviously, which is going to be probably of most interest to people, is if you're comparing with the Charge 4, At 1 meter, the difference was 4.3 decibels. The Bluetooth on the Minirig was louder by 4.3 decibels. And even if I just analyze the track, on average, it was louder by 4.7 decibels. So quite a difference. But what's actually going on makes quite a bit of difference. The Charge 4 has a fair dollop of bass, even at its maximum volume, albeit it's like 5 decibels quieter. But you've got some bass. The Minirig in auxiliary and Bluetooth, basically it's cutting everything below 200 hertz. So it's really stark, the difference. So you might find the Minirig's actually unlistenable at maximum volume, simply because there is a complete lack of any bass. I mean, it's drastically reducing the bass. Of course, you can get the sub to go along with it, so that's a different story. But comparing one against one, making it a fair comparison, the Charge 4, albeit is a lot quieter, still got some bass. So is it just that the Minirigs are going louder, and so they're having to reduce bass that much more drastically? Well, in terms of sheer loudness, the Minirigs in auxiliary, in low gain mode, is within 1 decibel. It's actually closer between the low gain mode and the Charge 4. So there's the Minirig, there's Charge 4, but even when the levels are closer together, the Charge 4 still has considerably more bass. The Minirig is still cutting bass from 200 hertz down. So you get all the mids, you get much stronger sound, but the Charge 4 has the bass. So if you have to have some bass, if you have to have some beat, you're going to probably prefer the Charge 4. However, the Minirig does go louder in high gain mode, and in low gain mode, there really isn't that much in it, 1 decibel with the auxiliary. However, getting back to the real comparison, auxiliary versus Bluetooth, auxiliary goes louder at maximum than in Bluetooth mode. So auxiliary is a higher quality mode on the Minirig than the Bluetooth. So it pretty much nails it. Auxiliary is a higher quality mode than Bluetooth. It goes louder. When you switch to low gain, it's not as dramatically quieter as in doing the same thing on Bluetooth. You're getting stronger, more present mids, getting a nicer bass. You don't get the, around the 8,000 hertz, which is around where you'd get a little bit of sibilance. You don't get the Bluetooth high-end boost, which isn't there on the original track, and it's not there when you play in auxiliary mode. I will say, when you switch to auxiliary, you're going to get a lot of pops and clicks. And by the way, when you play it in auxiliary, don't start it up and then put your cable in. It's going to be in Bluetooth mode if you do that. When you want to start it up in auxiliary, and I should mention again, you've got 2 options actually of switching gain. You can switch gain with the LED, but you can also use your inputs. The one nearest the grill is the high gain, the one nearest the bass is the low gain. But you can override that anyway using the LED. But when you first choose an input to play it with, I put that in and then it comes on automatically. So you don't turn it on, put the cable in first. It will sense the cable and switch to auxiliary mode. So if I wanted that in low gain and I'm in auxiliary, I don't have to start messing about with different auxiliary inputs. I can just still press the LED. The only difference being, if I'd started by using the low gain, it will come on in low gain mode. So to me, it's easiest just to use the high gain all the time, because you're going to override it anyway with the LED. Just to say, you are going to get a lot of these pops and crackles, especially as you start a track having not played a track, because the amp is going to be constantly cutting in, cutting out. If it's sensing no input, it's cutting out, saving power. If it's sensing an input, it switches on. So you do get an initial pop each time you play from scratch and start putting in your cables when it's actually already on. But apart from that, yeah, auxiliary is a nice mode. Obviously, you'd probably want a longer cable if you're going to be serious about auxiliary, and you still want to move about a bit, but it does go louder. It's a bit of a surprise to me that it goes louder than the Charge 4. I'm not saying the Charge 4 is a great speaker. I'm just saying, it's the latest one from JBL, around the same price level. And although it doesn't cut bass as dramatically as it does in the Minirig, at the end of the day, this does go louder. And at lower volumes, it's a high quality sound, no doubt about that. So I hope you got something out of this video, just to compare auxiliary versus Bluetooth is a no-brainer. Auxiliary is a higher quality mode. Low gain mode is a higher quality mode than high gain. But of course you're losing your ability to go wireless, but you still have the option. And that is really the thing I think about the Minirig, is that it's a serious auxiliary speaker, whereas the other Bluetooth speakers that I've tried, it's almost an afterthought. You can play it via auxiliary, but you lose quality doing that. They are first and foremost Bluetooth, whereas this seems to be first and foremost auxiliary with Bluetooth bolted on. So thank you for watching.
UK